Hare Krishna. So today we are going to discuss about a very special personality who is the Paramaguru or the Grand Spiritual Master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered by the scriptures, it is authorized in the scriptures to be an incarnation of Lord Krishna who descended in this age of Kali. He appeared in a place called Navadvip Dham in West Bengal, and his incarnation is predicted in the scriptures, in Bhagavatam as well as many other Shastras. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken Diksha in the Madhva Sampradaya, in the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. Brahma Madhva Sampradaya actually is one of the four Vaishnava Sampradayas. It started with, of course, the Supreme Lord Krishna, and the knowledge was given by Lord Krishna to Brahma, the creator of this universe. So Brahma in turn gave this knowledge to Narada. Narada gave it to Vyasa, and from Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, Madhvacharya had taken initiation Diksha in Badarika Ashrama around 800 to 900 years back. And in his Sampradaya, after many generations, there was a great Acharya by the name Vyasa Tirtha. He is also called as Vyasaraya Tirtha. And today we are going to discuss about briefly about his contribution. And and how his contribution connects to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. We are going to discuss that also. And how it is significant for devotees of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So let us begin with his birth. Brahmanya Tirtha was one of the pontiffs of the Madhva Sampradaya at the time of his birth. Actually, one day when Brahmanya Tirtha, he was sitting in meditation, a woman comes hurriedly running to him. And this woman says that, sorry to interrupt your meditation, but we need your help. So Brahmanya Tirtha asks her, what is the problem? She says, my husband died and we have no son. So we need someone to do the last rites. So would you please mind doing that for my husband? So then suddenly at that time, Brahmanya Tirtha, without his conscious knowledge, a blessing is uttered by him, by Brahmanya Tirtha, to that lady. He blesses her saying, Dirgha Sumangali Bhava. Dirgha Sumangali Bhava means may your husband live very long. Sumangali means a woman whose husband is alive. So Dirgha Sumangali means your husband lives very long. So that blessing actually contradicts the reality that her husband already died and he is blessing her Dirgha Sumangali Bhava. But then Vyasatirtha, then she said that how come this blessing of yours, how can I understand this? Then Brahmanya Tirtha says that, my blessing never goes in vain. So therefore, I am sure your husband is alive. So please go and check. So then he goes. Then they both go together and they see that her husband is actually alive. And he sat up. And they were very grateful to him. And they also requested him that, sir, actually we have another problem. For many, many years we have no children. So please bless us with some children. So Vyasatirtha said, bless them that, you will have children. You will have 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. But my request to you is, you please give your second son to me, because he is going to be a great personality, a great Vaishnava. So we want you to give your second son to us. So they happily agreed, because they said, we are not going to have any children, that you are blessing us with 3 children. So yes, one son that we can definitely give it to you. So in due course of time, the child was born, and as soon as that child was born, he sent his disciple, Brahmanya Tirtha sent his disciples to their house to bring that child in a golden plate. So he took a golden plate and he put the baby in the gold plate and then brought him to the ashram. And there Brahmanya Tirtha named him, he became his mentor, tutor. And then after some time, this Vyasa Tirtha was put under the charge of another pontiff. His name is Sripada Raya. Sripada Raya is the head of one of the mathas. So when he was put under his care, at that time Vyasa Tirtha was a small boy, like maybe 4 or 5 years old. So when Vyasa Tirtha was a small child at that time, he was given charge of worshipping the deities of the ashrama, of the matha. So Sripada Raya had one box, and this box was coming down from Madhvacharya's time. Madhvacharya had this box, and since his time that box was kept in the puja room, on the altar. So this box was never opened, because nobody could open that box. Nobody, since the time of Madhvacharya, nobody could ever open that box. So therefore, since that box could never be opened, nobody knew what was inside. So when this Vyasa Tirtha was doing puja, one day from outside the room they could hear some laughing and giggling and dancing sound. So Sripada Rai became curious what's happening inside. So he just saw inside what was happening. Inside what was happening is he saw Lord Krishna himself in his personal form. Lord Krishna was dancing on the hoods of a Kaliya. He saw that amazing sight. But as soon as he entered inside, at that time, Lord Krishna, who was dancing personally in front of Vyasa Tirtha, he became a deity. He turned into a deity. And actually, the deity of Kaliya, Krishna dancing on Kaliya, generally, he has his right foot on the head of Kaliya and left foot raised. But this deity is the opposite. Left foot on the head of Kaliya and right foot was raised. That is actually because when he suddenly opened the door and he saw what's inside, at that time Krishna immediately becomes a deity. And at that time his left foot was put on the hood of Kaliya and his right foot was raised. So immediately he became a deity at that point. So then at that time Sripada Raya understood how he is such a great devotee. Vyasa Tirtha was such a great devotee. And then slowly he recognized his great devotion and he decided to make him the successor of the matha, his successor as the head of the pontiff of the matha. But then when Vyasa Tirtha realized that he was going to be made the head of the matha, at that time Vyasa Tirtha actually he ran away from the ashram. But then as he ran away, after some time he sees Lord Vishnu. He suddenly appeared in front of Vyasa Tirtha and he told him that no, you should go back and I want you to take this responsibility. So then Vyasa Tirtha actually takes up that responsibility. And then as he was preaching, he realized that Madhvacharya wanted, and it is the will of the Supreme Lord to preach the message of Dharma far and wide. And since it was seen that this system of worship of Lord Krishna in Udupi, the main deity of Lord Krishna of Sri Krishna Matha, established by Madhvacharya, the worship of that deity was done only by the Mathadhisha of 8 different mathas. The 8 different mathas that were established by Madhvacharya, the head of each matha, only he himself can touch the deity and worship the deity. Even no other sannyasi also cannot touch the deity or worship. So the system was, it's called Paryaya system, where 2 months in a year, one acharya would worship the deity. And then after the 2 months, the next matha Acharya would worship. And in that way, each matha had 2 months. And in this, after all the 8 mathas are done, again the first matha would get the opportunity. So in this way, the paryaya was going on. But then, so therefore, each matha there was a gap of 14 months. After 14 months, again they would get back their turn. So in this time when they are not worshipping the deity, at that time they would be preaching, far and wide. They would be going around and preaching the message of, Madhvacharya, message of Vaishnavism. But then Vyasatirtha realized that in those days, since because to travel would take a lot of time, say if they went to the northern part of India and preached, that would take a long time. And therefore they could not be able to come back, for their paryaya. So therefore he changed the paryaya from 2 months to 2 years. So after every 2 years, the paryaya would change to the next matha. So in this way, for the same matha to come back to their paryaya, it would take 14 years. So after 14 years, they would get back their paryaya. So in this 14 years, they would travel far and wide to preach the dharma of Vaishnavism. So this he changed, and when he did that, he was able to now travel far and wide. Now he traveled to Bengal also. When he went to Bengal, he would preach Vaishnava dharma there also, and many other places. And for the sake of preaching, he also established the Hanuman deities, because even people who were not Vaishnavas, like the Shaivites and Smartas, they were all worshipping Hanuman. So to bring them to Vaishnavism, he also established Hanuman deities. Besides that, he had very close relationships with the kings of that area, especially Sri Krishna Devaraya, who was the king of Vijayanagara Samrajya, Vijayanagara Empire at that time. And Krishna Devaraya was very influential. So at one point of time, the astrologers, they had advised Krishna Devaraya that he had a special influence of the planets. It's called Kuhu Yoga. This Kuhu Yoga was lasting for 2 years, and during this period, whoever was the king, he would suffer a lot. So many troubles would come, and also the successors, not the successors, even the people of his kingdom, they would also suffer greatly. So therefore he advised that actually everyone advised, all the astrologers advised Krishna Devaraya that please give this throne to someone else for these 2 years, just to save yourself and the kingdom. But then you need a very responsible and trustworthy person and of pure character to take that responsibility, because anyone else could have exploited his position, and he may even not return the kingdom. So, but then they decided that there was a temple of goddess Durga, and in that temple there was an elephant, and this elephant was chosen to select that prospective king for those 2 years. So the elephant was given a garland, and in whosever neck the elephant would put the garland, he was chosen to be the king. He would be chosen to be the king for those 2 years. So then this elephant was given the garland, and the elephant started running, and it went to a distant cave. And in the distant cave, outside the cave, then that elephant started making noise, making sounds. And from inside the cave, a sage came out. He was Vyasatirtha. And suddenly this elephant put the garland around his neck. And then that Vyasatirtha at that time said, I do not want to be a king. So because I am a sannyasi, I am not supposed to do all that. So please select someone else. So upon his request, they again redid the whole thing. They actually again gave the garland to the elephant, and the elephant again went to the same place and again put the garland around his neck. Then he accepted it as the will of the Lord to do that seva. And then he, for those 2 years, he sat on the throne and he ruled the kingdom. And on the last day of Kuhi Yoga, which was very dangerous, so on that day, as he was sitting on the throne, suddenly he got up from the throne and he came off. He came down from the throne. At that time, suddenly a snake fell from the top onto the throne. And when the snake fell, Vyasatirtha, he put his outer garment on top of that serpent, and that serpent was burnt to ashes after some time. So whoever was sitting on the throne, he would have had a similar fate. So in that way, he saved the king. And then Vyasatirtha told him that now the Kuhi Yoga is over, now you can sit and you can rule the kingdom. Everything is fine. And so he immediately gave up his kingdom and he went back. So because he was a sannyasi, he was completely detached from that position. So in that way he set the ideal example how a sannyasi should be detached from all worldly positions. And then after that, another incident happened in Tirupati at that time. In Tirupati, there was this king Saluva Narasimhadevaraya. This Narasimhadevaraya, during his reign, an unfortunate thing happened in Tirupati. Some robbers, they stole the ornaments of the Supreme Lord, of Lord Narayana, and they left, they ran away. But of course they were finally caught, and when they were caught, they were hanged to death. And since they were hanged to death in Tirumala, therefore it was considered that it had become impure, that place had become impure, and therefore people would not visit that place, Tirumala Hills. And at that time, this Saluva Narasimhadevaraya, he invites Vyasatirtha to come to Tirupati. And Vyasatirtha, he comes to Tirumala, and then he actually does a special ritual, some special worship of the Lord in the inner sanctorum where the main deity is present. Some purificatory rituals. And at that time no one was allowed to go inside. But then the question was, how would those who came to have darshan of the Lord, how could they go back without having darshan? So therefore what he did is, on top of the Vimana, the Vimana is the dome above the main deity. So that's called Vimana. And on top of the Vimana there is a small carving of Lord Venkateshwara. So he did Prana Pratishtha to that carving. And that deity is called Vimana Venkateshwara. Even today when you have darshan of the Lord, when you come out while doing the parikrama, on that golden shikhar which is above the main deity, there is a small Vimana Venkateshwara. People have darshan of it. And then he declared that whoever has darshan of this Vimana Venkateshwara, that is equal to having darshan of the Lord himself inside the temple. So therefore, even today people have darshan of Vimana Venkateshwara while they are doing parikrama. So that was established by Vyasatirtha. And for 12 years he stayed there. And at that time he established a system where anyone who came to Tirumala, they all sat together for prasadam, and there was free prasadam that was distributed to everyone, and they all sat in the same line and they were all given prasadam. Whether it was born in a Brahmana family or a Shudra family, irrespective of your caste, everyone had to sit together and take prasadam. So that system, even today, there are lakhs of devotees who come every day to Tirumala to have darshan of the Lord, and they are all given prasadam in the temple. and they all sit together and take prasad. So that system was established by Vyasatirtha. So now coming to the most important contributions of Vyasatirtha. Besides all this, he also abolished, or he was against the caste system based on birth. Like son of a Brahmana would be a Brahmana and so on. So he was against that. So therefore he would actually, he gave initiation to many devotees who were born in Shudra families also, like Kanakadasa for example. Kanakadasa was born in a Shudra family and he was discriminated against. He was not even allowed to go inside the temple to have darshan. And so he not only gave him initiation, which was also considered a taboo, but he also instructed him to preach all over the world. And through his sankirtanas, through his bhajans, Kanakadasa and Purandaradasa, they were both inspired by Vyasatirtha to spread the names of God, the singing of the names of God, which is called Sankirtana. That was originally started by Vyasatirtha. He himself composed many bhajans in praise of the Lord, and he inspired Purandaradasa and Kanakadasa. And Purandaradasa is considered to be the grandfather or the founding father of Carnatic music. And from him many others got inspired, and the whole tradition of singing the bhajans in the praise of the Lord became very famous, and the Sankirtana had spread many parts of South India at that time. And so in this way he always emphasized preaching the glories of the Lord. He himself preached all the way. He went to Bengal and many other places in India and preached the message of Krishna Bhakti, Vaishnavism. And he also performed Sankirtana, and he inspired many people, even so-called Shudras, to perform Sankirtana and spread it all over. And he emphasized that is the most important aspect of Vaishnavism. And also he has abolished the caste system based on birth. And then he brought everyone on the same platform to worship Krishna. So because of these contributions, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appeared in his Sampradaya. So when he went in his, actually the grand spiritual master of Vyasatirtha is Purushottama Tirtha. Vyasatirtha's guru is Brahmanya Tirtha. Brahmanya Tirtha's guru Purushottama Tirtha. Purushottama Tirtha's guru is Jayadharma or Jayadhvaja. So Jayadhvaja was the first person who went to Bengal to establish Dvaita Siddhanta or Vaishnava Dharma over there. And then of course Vyasatirtha went also to Bengal. He initiated one person, one devotee by the name Lakshmipati Tirtha. His initiated name is Lakshmipati Tirtha. And Lakshmipati Tirtha initiated Nityananda Prabhu into Vaishnavism. And according to Narahari Chakravarti Thakur's Bhakti Ratnakara, in the Bhakti Ratnakara book, it describes in detail how Nityananda Prabhu meets Lakshmipati Tirtha and how he receives Diksha from Lakshmipati Tirtha. In some other places, however, it has been explained that Nityananda Prabhu took Diksha from Madhavendra Puri. But in either case, Madhavendra Puri himself was a disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha, who is a disciple of Vyasatirtha. So in that way, the contributions of Vyasatirtha were unlimited, and he also wrote several books against the Mayavadi Siddhanta, defeating the Mayavadi Siddhanta. And one of these three books, they were called Nyayamrita, Tatparya Chandrika, and Tarka Tandava. And these three books were written to defeat the Mayavadi monistic philosophy and to establish the Dvaita Siddhanta, Vaishnava Siddhanta of Madhvacharya. And these three books together, they are called Vyasatraya. And he also would debate with many other scholars of Advaita Siddhanta. One of those scholars was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. most of these arguments, most of these debates which he had with Mayavadis, in every case he was always successful. He would always defeat the Mayavadi opponents and establish the Vaishnava Siddhanta. In one case, this is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the court Pandit of King Prataparudra of Orissa. Orissa's king of Prataparudra. At that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very young and he was the court Pandit. So he had this debate with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya through exchange of letters. And at one point of time, the Lord appeared in his dream, in the dream of Vyasatirtha, and he told him that I am going to personally deal with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So then Vyasatirtha stopped the interaction with Sarvabhauma, and after some time, of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and he converts Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya into Vaishnavism. And so in this way, the contributions of Vyasatirtha are unlimited. We can pray to, let us all pray to at the lotus feet of Vyasatirtha and all the Acharyas of the Parampara, that we may receive their full mercy and follow in their footsteps and make our lives successful, and also assist them in their glorious mission of Sankirtan movement. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.